Hey everyone, today I want to talk about Corey Davis and the Tennessee Titans coming up in 2018. Corey Davis was one of the best wide receivers I've seen come out of the draft in a while. And scouting him, I was so excited when he got drafted high and had big hopes for him coming into the year. Now, he didn't really live up to all of that because of a few reasons, one of them being a hamstring injury. And that can hinder anyone and ruin their first year, and that's understandable. The other thing that I think kind of got in his way a little bit was the scheme. I don't think the Titans used him to his full ability and featured him, but it was also probably because he was out for so long and didn't have time to develop chemistry and just generally didn't have the full playbook under his belt. Coming into this next year, I expect all that to change. One of the reasons, though, is they have a new offensive coordinator in Matt LaFleur here. And some of his roots kind of revolve around the Shanahan offense, which would be outside zone plays and bootlegs and that working off of those concepts to generate offense. So when you think about that, you think about the Falcons offense when you have Devontae Freeman and Julio Jones, and then you have Matt Ryan rolling out on naked bootlegs. But the difference between this offense coming up and that offense, a huge part of it will be Marcus Mariota. He is significantly more dangerous rolling out backside with his legs and his accuracy on the move. But we'll kind of get into that a little bit later on how that play works and how that really helps Corey Davis's performance. But the most important thing that will help establish Corey Davis's success will actually be the run game. And if you look at their offensive line, this is Pro Football Focus, ranked them 5th overall offensive line last year. And one of the things that's really important to notice is they say the Tennessee offensive line might be the most balanced unit in the league. It's the smallest difference between the weakest link and the best performer. And I mean, we all knew they had a really good offensive line. I just think this is really important to note, especially with the zone scheme. Now, they ran a lot of inside zone scheme last year, and so they're going to kind of carry over to outside zone. And you know they have Derrick Henry, and it makes you wonder, well, why would you switch to outside zone with Derrick Henry? Well, it's actually important to note, if you pay attention to the way he runs the football, I think he's better in outside zone, and he's even gone on record to say so. After the big run, I think, against the Colts early in the year, the big run he had outside wasn't actually a zone. It was like a gap scheme pull play. But when they were interviewing him about that, he made a statement generally that just said he really prefers outside zone runs, and that's what he's most comfortable in and he thinks he's best at. And when you watch him play, it's kind of true. You start 7 yards deep, get a full head of steam, and he can make one cut. And whether there's a hole or not, he's got such a big body, he can blow through that. And he's got an eye for the zone run. But they also signed Dion Lewis. And Dion Lewis, we've seen him in New England. I mean, New England, by the end of the season, he was starting to become their featured back, and they were running outside zone a lot with him. Like, he started to win that job because he got healthy again. And so the Titans bring him over to help assist with this outside zone game as well. So between the two of them and this amazing offensive line that they have, I think it sets up a really good run game, especially considering you at any time in an outside zone you can have Marcus Mariota on a naked bootleg coming from the backside, and whether he runs the ball or throws it, that keeps the back of the defense home and makes holes for the running backs on the front side and in the middle. So with all of this being said, LaFleur's offensive scheme and what he runs and what they're going to run is an absolute perfect match for this personnel, especially from the run perspective. And that's where this comes in. And I mean, not that Corey Davis needs any help, he is such a good receiver, but all of this generates an amazing opportunity for Corey Davis this year. So let's get to one play that shows that right here. Alright, so this play, there's a few things that are very important to note. This isn't the Titans, this is the Falcons, but this is something that's this is a play that's going to be run by the Titans this year, and I'm going to show you why it's so perfect for Corey Davis and how it's really hard to defend. And so we have Julio Jones up here as X receiver. I imagine Corey Davis will be the X receiver for the Titans this year. And guarding him is Xavier Rhodes, who's playing off a bit. And if you actually look at the alignment, you'll see Julio Jones is kind of inside the numbers here, while Xavier Rhodes is kind of in the middle of the numbers, maybe slightly to the outside. We'll call it middle. But Julio Jones is definitely inside of him and playing off of him. And on this play, Atlanta runs some play action, and you immediately notice that Julio is just running a crossing pattern. And Xavier Rhodes is off of him, so he's got to react. And you have the threat of the run being effective and pulling Matt Ryan naked bootleg outside. What this does is just free up Julio Jones wide open for an easy completion. And it's not the best throw by Matt Ryan, but that's why Marcus Mariota is a better fit, because Marcus Mariota is faster. He might have even been able to run the linebacker outside, but regardless, this throw is more accurate. Julio can turn it upfield. And Corey Davis is so good with the ball in his hands. He is a huge frame. He has great agility. He has really good acceleration and a strong stiff arm. And he's just got good traction on the field. Like, he can make cuts for people his size that he just shouldn't be able to do. Between his cutting ability and his acceleration, his stiff arms, these type of plays are going to really free up a lot of his opportunities. And this isn't going to be why he'll explode by any means. This is just small things throughout the season that add up, that can really add to his performance and help him break out this year. Now, looking at that last play, we can see that Xavier Rhodes was playing well off of Julio Jones and was playing outside of him even. So adjustments, you might say, defenses can make on Corey Davis is something like this. Why don't we press him? So I wanted to show a few plays about what Corey Davis can do to defeat different alignments and different defenses against stuff like this, to allow his cross routes to be open throughout the year. And so one of them would be this, and on this play here you'll see the offense is lined up on the close hash, and well, Corey Davis is actually really inside of these numbers as opposed to at least on them, so he's got a lot of space to work with over here. But regardless, let's just put this into context. The team decides to press him, man, and he's on the close side of the field, and he's just going to run a fade route. And he can show you here how he can beat this. And he works patiently up the field. He gives Mariota space and makes a nice catch. And this is something where, you know, in a similar look, you can line him up in, instead of running a crossing route, if this guy's playing press and inside, he can run an out pattern and he's going to go up and get that football. And so now as a defender, you have two ways you can think to defend this, depending on what play's coming, and he can beat both of them. And it's not just this play that he wins a jump ball. I'll show some highlights from his college that later in this video that highlight his ability to run after the catch and his jump ball, but he is a hungry man in any jump ball situation. He doesn't go up and win them with the most grace all the time and out jump everyone and one-handed grab. He does do one-handed grabs, but So, I mean, it doesn't always look pretty, but whenever the ball is in the air, he is the hungriest man going to get that ball. And he almost always wins it, whether it looks pretty or it doesn't always look that pretty. He comes down with it. So, if you want to go press him and leave this as an opportunity, go ahead because he's going to catch this pass. Alright, I'm going to show 3 plays that show other ways defenses can try to defend an alignment like this on him and how he can beat all of them. So far we've seen the original way Xavier Rhodes was covering Julio, and in that scenario you can't possibly cover Julio or Corey Davis because you're playing 10 yards off and you're playing outside and he is beelining across as a drag route. I mean, you just can't beat the receiver that spot. So that's a receiver win. Then I showed you the last play where the defense can press him, and against the press, he can beat that with a fade and going up over top of him and getting off that press. And now we'll look at these next 3 plays, and what you see here in this play, Corey Davis is here. This safety ultimately is covering him. Corey Davis is lined up inside the numbers, well inside. This guy is lined up 10 yards out and outside the numbers. I mean, this defender is practically standing where Corey Davis is going to run his route. And Corey Davis is able to still win this ball. And a lot of it is just his really impressive frame and ability to make catches on the sideline. That's obviously an NFL level catch. The ability to go up, catch the ball, and have the awareness to drag your feet tight against the sideline. Also, just the fact that he's either 6'4" or 6'5", can jump so well and make that kind of contested catch. I mean, it doesn't matter what size you are as a cornerback in the NFL, you can't defend that. Here, same thing against the Ravens. It's the same defense against him, and David Carr, is right on, or whatever his name, Brandon Carr is right on him, but he's still able to make the catch. He's a back shoulder fade, dragging his legs or his feet, and gets in bounds. And it's just, again, how do you defend that? And here, the last play too, you have in this championship game, he's lined up kind of on the outside of the numbers, so he has even less space, and Malcolm Butler he's lined up more on the inside if you look at how it is. So Malcolm Butler's trying to defend the inside because this isn't the easiest cover for him. I mean, the Patriots are blitzing everyone, and they're playing man coverage with these 3 guys on these 3 guys. So it's not the easiest, but I mean, the offense on the close hash here, and Malcolm Butler is so many yards off. He's almost, again, just like the other play, standing where the ball is going to be thrown to. And I know he has the threat of the inside, but what you see is just a really good play that you can't defend by Corey Davis yet again. He holds him inside long enough, and then he makes a really nice play where he's keeping him inside and he's breaking out. And once he breaks out with his frame and his ability to tap his toes, you just can't defend it. So now you've seen all 3 ways you could think to defend an alignment in this formation. That all stems from the running game being effective, play action off of it, and rolling him out. And once that's successful, you try to defend it other ways, now you see that Corey Davis can actually beat the other ways you would think to defend it. So all in all, he's such a complete receiver. And I'm just going to run some highlights of him from college just so you can see what I was talking about with what he can do when he actually gets an offense that can generate him the ball in space, and then also some of his jump ball ability. And I mean, even on this play, like between the stiff arm and how fluid his hips move when he makes that cut, and then just the acceleration, I thought he was the best receiver in last year's draft, and he's one of the best prospects I've seen in a while. And you see his movement skills there. For a man his size, how fluid he is and how strong he is just, you don't see that very often. And so when you put him in an offense that the Falcons would run and that he's going to be in, where you've seen what Julio can do it. Now, I'm not calling him Julio Jones by any means, but you see what he can do after the catch and the kind of space an offense like this can generate. He can really make some big plays. And there's another example of his acceleration. And so, besides the fact that he doesn't have a hamstring injury, it's obvious to say he's going to have a bounce back year because he doesn't have a hamstring injury. That's a huge factor. But there's a lot more to it, like I've pointed out. Changing the offense is going to be huge because the Shanahan offense emphasizes using an X receiver. And in the past, the Titans have used Delanie Walker a lot featured in the offense from the passing game, but I can see the offense being kind of turned over to featuring more of Corey Davis, especially since he'll be playing the X receiver. And all of these changes, you're going to see a jump from a fantasy and a performance perspective from all of the Titans, especially from the offense. And a lot of it could come from defense's help. What you'll see is, I think their defense is going to be much better, and then that's going to lead to some opportunities for the offense to have the ball more, which is obviously just, people say fantasy's opportunities. I think it's more than just opportunities, but let's just say it is for now opportunities. You're going to get more opportunities because defense is just going to be better. But then now you have a system that you have all the personnel that are perfect for the system that they just didn't quite run last year. And now they're going to run it with a healthy number one receiver who's going to be the best number one receiver they've had. And I feel like all of their numbers go up, but especially Corey Davis. And then just to look at his schedule too, coming up, right here, when you look at his schedule, you really only see, so they have to play Jacksonville twice, which is going to be so tough because their defense is really good, and Jalen's a top 5 cornerback. And then the Chargers, Casey Hayward's another top 5 cornerback. And then it's not that these teams don't have talent at cornerback, but you're going to see that you don't have a Jalen Ramsey or Casey Hayward on the rest of these teams. And so I think he's got a lot of opportunity to break out this year, and he's going to surprise people. Now, will he be top 5 fantasy player, top 10 fantasy player? I don't know, probably not. But he's going to have a much better year, and he's definitely going to surprise people. And he has showed such good traits his first year for not touching the ball a whole lot, that when they do decide to feature him and get him the ball more, you can see what he can do, and he will really blow up. He's going to be a good player in this league for a long time. As always, thank you for watching this episode, and if you like my content and haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. I plan to be releasing videos as often as I possibly can, because ultimately I want to make a career out of this, whether it be self-supporting through YouTube videos like this, or something else happens, I get picked up somewhere along the way. And if you like my videos and want to support me financially to continue to do this as often as I possibly can, my Patreon account's up to the top right. And if there's anything that you want me to do a video of, or explain, or answer, just leave in the comment section, and I will be sure to get a video out as soon as I can on that. And I just want to again thank you so much for your support, and moving forward, hopefully this can become a good thing.